Let's talk about art. What does it mean? After a quick Google search, art is defined as the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination. We're talking about any form of visual and audio creations that were cooked up by the mind of a person. Let's ask the question, can video games be art? Yes, but there will be those that disagree with me, which, it's fair. Calling something art is an extremely subjective thing, but there are games out there that can be considered as such. And recently, I played two games that could be regarded as such, Undertale and To the Moon. Some will wonder why I chose these two games for this, and my only response really is, I just recently played them. That's it, really. And I loved it. I loved every single second of it. It's these two games that reaffirm my belief that games can be art. Their use of their respective genres allow them to craft experiences that can only be experienced through the medium of video games. Their themes and narratives that break the mold of standard video game thoroughfare, and it's those same things that allow people to remember the games in such fond ways. I wanted to talk about specific parts of those two games that make me consider them as art. There's definitely a lot more reasons as to why you could call it art, but I do not want this video to be hours upon hours long. And plus, these are my reasons. Someone else might have a completely different reason than me, but that is completely valid. Now, before we begin, spoiler warnings for these 2-decade-old games. I highly recommend you try them out if you have not, because they are experiences worth experiencing, really. With that out of the way, let's begin. Stories are everywhere. All throughout life, we have stories that leave us in awe with its spectacle, or stories that break our hearts and leave us in tears. But there are stories that affect us on a deeper level, something that truly taps every fiber of our beings and leaves us changed after the fact. And I believe To the Moon has that. Now, I know there's not much to see on a surface level. It's an RPG Maker game with little gameplay to add on it. So what makes this game art? For me, it's the story. There's so few stories out there these days that truly tug at my heartstrings. Even less so with a game like To the Moon, which only has a whopping 4.5 hours of playtime. I'm gonna try really, really hard not to spoil anything big here, but I can't promise anything. So skip here if you want to avoid any of the spoilers from this game. Please play it if you can. With that out of the way, let's get back to the question of what makes it good. To put it simply, it's just love. In To the Moon, we play as two doctors traversing through a dying man's memories in order to get him, well, to the moon. The dying man in question is named Johnny, and throughout his memories, we run into his late wife, River. Johnny and River's love for one another is paramount compared to anything else in this story. It's what drives our character to do what they do throughout the story. There are moments throughout where we doubt the love that these two have for each other, but it isn't until the third act where things are revealed and you realize that the actions that his wife River has been doing for the entire journey for Johnny has been an act of pure love. It's also near the end where after memories are altered that you think that a sacrifice in Johnny's life was needed in order to achieve his dream of going to the moon, but it's at the last moments where, even after everything is changed, two people that truly love each other will always find each other no matter what. But these moments only really hit hard with the context of the entire story. The way this narrative builds up and crescendos as we believe that time is running out as Johnny's body begins to die. It's incredible, really. It adds this level of importance to the decisions made by the doctors that lead to one of them to quote-unquote pull the trigger on a choice that would essentially rip apart those in love but would allow them to succeed in their mission. You get to feel the weight of this choice through an incredible montage set to Laura Shigehara's Everything's Alright, where Johnny's life is forever changed in order to set him on the path that gets him to the moon. I truly urge anybody who hasn't played this game to try it out and experience it for themselves, as this game is an experience like none other. But it's not just the story that's amazing in this game. The characters are relatable and written in a way that puts you in their shoes. And the music in this game that acts like a garnish to an already incredible meal. If you can, if I haven't said it enough, please try this game. It is truly amazing, and I can wholeheartedly call it art. What can I say about Undertale that hasn't already been said in the last 10 years? Its praises have been sung by a large number of YouTubers and video essayists that whatever I'll say will probably be extremely redundant at this point, but it's still my word, so I'll still say it. Undertale's narrative is a thing of beauty to experience. How its themes of kindness and pacifism shine throughout the game, and how its writing creates characters that you can deeply connect to. But there's more to it than that. It's a strange way of thinking, but Undertale can change someone's perspective in life. It can make someone find hope in a dark world. There's so many aspects of Undertale that I could talk about, and any of them would be great points as to why it can be considered as art. But for this, I wanted to focus on something simple. Something that after a couple of notes, it can make you say, yeah, this is art. Music. Now, I'm not going to analyze the leitmotifs or the technical aspects of the music in Undertale, as other people have done so in a far better way than I could ever do. But instead, I wanted to talk about how it makes me feel when I played through Undertale. In my opinion, Undertale's soundtrack is a masterclass in making the player feel what the game wants you to feel. From the intense music of Megalovania to the somber tune of Heartache. The music in this game can elevate simple walking segments or lore dumps into powerful moments that other games try to achieve, but it's not just that for me. Undertale's music makes me nostalgic. I'm gonna be a little real here. When Undertale came out, I was going through 8th grade. I was 13 at the time, and I was definitely in a time where I wasn't really doing the best. My depression was settling in, my anxiety flaring up like my acne. It wasn't a great time. That is until I watched Jacksepticeye's playthrough of Undertale, and I fell in love with the game. Its themes, its characters, everything, especially the music. It feels hyperbolic to say it, but Undertale changed my life for the better. Over time, I'd associate the themes of Undertale to its music and its leitmotifs, and I'd find comfort in it. But as I grew up and more crazy things happened in my life, I started listening to it less and less. That was until recently, where I finally played Undertale for the very first time. As soon as Once Upon a Time started, I felt like that 13-year-old kid again. I felt like I had been transported back to 2015, where my only worries really were if I was gonna get a good grade in class or if my crush would even notice me. But there was something different. The characters and themes remained the same, and the music was still just as good as it was before, but there was something I couldn't put my finger on. It wasn't until I got to New Home and my favorite song started playing and it finally clicked with me. It's been 10 years since I first learned about what Undertale was. I've had my own journeys, my own little adventures. I've experienced heartbreak and betrayal. I've experienced loss and incredible happiness. I have and will continue to experience all of these things as I grow older and older. But despite everything, it's still you. It made me realize that deep down, after everything, I'm still that little kid with dreams of creating something that I and other people can enjoy. And it was all thanks to a couple of notes that I can safely say that, yeah, this is art. Games can be art. It's a lot of things. It can be the best thing that you'll ever play. It can be the worst thing you've ever played. It can make you really, really mad. It can make you really, really happy. Honestly, that's what art is all about. Art is all about making you feel emotions, and if video games can do that, why can't we call them as such? There's so many games out there too that anybody can call it art. One of the worst games ever could be art. One of the best games ever could be art. Who knows? Who really knows? All I'm saying is, really, video games can be art. Because, like any sort of art form, it can make you feel things. It can make you feel things because of personal stuff, or not even anything. It could just be that good that it made you feel something. And that's why I believe art can be video games can be art. And honestly, that's why I love this medium. That's why I love everything about it is because every single game can be a new experience and a new emotion for you to feel. And that's why I am so happy to call it art. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Hopefully any of my points make sense. I love video games, if you haven't caught that. And you know what? I just said, why not? Let's just make a video about how much this whole entire medium means to me. And like I said earlier, there's so many video games out there that someone can consider as art. So please comment down below, or like, I don't know, think about it. What video games you could consider as art, either so many games or one game. Just let me know. Hopefully you guys do enjoy this style of video. I'm really looking forward to making more stuff like this, because honestly, it's really fun. I love talking with my hands, and as you can see, my hands either are in frame or not in frame. Who knows? With that out of the way, you guys can catch me on any of my socials, Twitter, Blue Sky, Twitch, all that fun stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.